Guyanese, but you just call them meals. Eh? People are foreign got names for their meals, but I telling y'all this, Guyana ain't get lunch. Hello and welcome. What does story say? I'm your host, Dr. Pauline Baird, cultural bearer from the village of Buxton, Guyana, and I love to tell the stories of my village, Buxton. I like to talk about our family histories, our whispered stories, our practice, hidden, and sometimes long-lost traditions. And like we say on this show, our stories say, come in, I sit down, loud talk story. Well, this morning I had my tea. You know what I had for my tea? I had chana, I had sardines, I had plantain, boiled plantain. I cut it up fine and I boil it. And I had that for tea. We're talking about food. Let me talk about what Guyanese just call them food. They must eat 3 meals, me sure, and even more. But they don't call it what Americans just call it. This is Guyanese traditional description of their meals. Tea, breakfast, and dinner. Guyanese na get lunch. I signed it with my full chest and my full face, and me says so. That thing na name lunch. Back in the day, let's say Enid get vexed with your friend and they want for cuss. And somebody say, but them starving God's picnic. Enid go say, make you ice pass me picnic them in me house. Me just make sure they get them 3 square meals, tea, breakfast, and dinner. So let me confess, who does eat rice for tea? When I was growing up, tea was bush tea with bread and butter. You're lucky if you get peanut butter and biscuit. You get Ejabai biscuit with butter, and that was luxury one. You have to get break a day for everyday one. But tea for some people in the morning is many, many different things. It's coffee, it's milk, it's rice and chicken. Yes, balanje and roti. Indian people, they get a side of roti and then drink their tea. I tag the thing, what is tea for you? And then breakfast time now, and at midday, breakfast time you get the heavy meals, and so you cook up rice, you dry food and different things like that. Me grandmother used to make me some porridge. She used to make cornmeal porridge or cornmeal pop for some times when you got to go midday time. You see, if rain fall, me not go, me know. She reach me and Miss Bottom house with 2 big bowl of cornmeal porridge. You see the cornmeal porridge don't cold, and it form a film on top, and then she take out the evaporated milk, and then she pour it so, and it make that circle, and then you eat it, you cut it for eat it. I know them time now. That is breakfast, whether I eat at midday time. Then you get dinner. Dinner, you get your other food, whether rice and chicken and more of the regular fare. But yes, y'all talk the thing. Tea, breakfast, and dinner. At school start back, it's where again them children for tea. I look back and look at how I used to get tea. Well, of course, it was bush tea, but we didn't like the bush tea. So my grandmother used to position us in a place so she can watch we drink this bush tea. And that brings me to my next point. It's where again them children for tea. I look back and look at how I used to get tea. Well, of course, it was bush tea, but we didn't like the bush tea. So my grandmother used to position us in a place so she can watch we drink this bush tea. And that brings me to my next point. This is an aside. Where in the house do you have your meals? This is a thing that teachers usually ask children when they go back to school. Teachers have got to be careful, because when these kids answer, their answers show their socioeconomic conditions as well as their Guyanese-ness. So when I was teaching, I had this encounter. They had a boy named Bal. I remember Bal distinctly because Bal needs to come to school steady. He always absent. But when Bal show up, it used to be an unusual time. You see when rainfall bad May, June, then Bal come to school. You see when place dry, he not come to school. He not did at all. If you see not in a register, absent, 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 absent. So one day Bal show up at school. When he show up at school now, you're asking children, so when you take your tea in the morning, where you just take the tea? We ask you a question. Bal raise your hand quick. So, me miss. We ask you, He said, bottom house. And that's a true thing for many children, bottom house. When you say, where you eat the dinner? He said, me daddy, I eat him at the hammock. In the hammock. And the black people, they're different, you know. Where you eat your dinner? On the bench. True, me used to eat me mom on the bench. And the tea, you see my grandmother used to give you in the morning. It used to happen on the bench in the living room. Right at the table there with the plastic tablecloth with the apple them on it. She give you the tea. We sit down there on a bench, 5 of we. We don't want to drink a tea, but guess what? We had tricks for she. My brother go and get 5 icy bottle. You know them icy drink? Soda. Put them on the table. When we talking to she, one a distraction, the rest of pour the tea in the bottle at the bottom of the table. When my grandmother been old, so she never went under the table. When we get ready, we pour tea from under the bench through the crease of the floor. You go down the bottom house. My great aunt Ivy, because she man Ivy, I say, Bob, why like a house a leak all the bottom house? A tea I go down there. Then you get another family in Buxton, prominent family. You know, the teachers has asked his children, where you just eat in the different places of your house, where you just do in the different places in your house, and things like that, you know. So they wanted to talk about living room and kitchen and dining room, and so big mistake, picking all them things down when I little. So this teacher asked the family member that living in the house, a little girl, in school, you know, she asking different people questions, you know, where do you take your meals and different things, and the children are giving the right answer. So she asked she family and say, now tell them, where do you take your meals? On the back step. Yes. Shock of all shocks. Yeah, they might eat the dinner at the back step. Are you eating a back step? That was a nice thing. You sit down there, they put a meal, and you put your foot through them steps, and you can swing your little legs so, and you eat your thing. Yes, when you see them come off a back step, if you see aisle upon a step, because it's a boil and fry. One time, and then I asked Bal, where you don't sleep at night? He said, me don't sleep a can of my daddy. So they ask you, what part of the house? He said, in pan the floor in the house. When you ask Bal, bye, how come you not come to school all in time? He said, my daddy the home and my mama the home. I read between the lines because his parents work in cutters, and when rain fall, then can't go to work. When rain fall, then they home. And guess what? Bal got to go to school then. Read between the line and spell. School we had tour. Everybody talking about what they're going to carry, and so Bal show up. Bal, where you carrying? Boil and fry, miss. Boil and fry. Mr. Boil and fry what? Breadfruit, everything you boil and fry. That was tour food for Bal. Yes, lest you think that Guyanese have strange eating patterns and behaviors, you should travel around the world and learn how they eat. The Palauans eat fish and taro. The Japanese would eat rice porridge, but it's salty. And rice and fish and food that people would tend to eat at other times of the day. And when it comes to Japan, people sleep on the floor. For the first couple of years I lived here, I slept on the floor. I got a bed now. And people merge their living rooms and their kitchen and dining, because when you're in Japan, you have open spaces and you have a futon that you would sleep on, and you don't necessarily have bedrooms. People convert spaces into bedrooms. Daytime, a living room becomes a space for shared company, but at night, it's for shared sleeping. Let's talk about dining table. Not everyone eats at a dining table like we do with our legs on the ground. People sit on the floor to eat in many places in the world, so we are right on. People sit on benches, they sit outdoors. It doesn't matter. Here in Japan, in the winter time, people use something called a kotatsu. And the kotatsu is a table that is heated at the bottom. So you take off the tabletop, you put a big blanket over, specially designed for the table, and everyone will sit either on floor chairs to the ground and put their feet under the table. The children, the grandmother, the grandfather, the father, the aunties, whoever is living in that house, will all sit around that small table with feet underneath. After they're done homework and different things, the kids may fall asleep under the kotatsu. Adults may fall asleep there. So where's the bedroom? Thank God. Where's the dining room? Ain't got. That's not to say everyone's home is like that. I've been to my friend's house and she has regular Western style table. But I just wanted to draw a comparison and to show similarities between cultures. So, this whole business of what we call what we eat or when we eat is very different for different cultures. Yes, I know Guyanese going to tell me, but we have lunch and we have lunchtime. Yes, you do. But I'm talking about traditionally. It's tea, breakfast and dinner. You can have it on the bench, in the hammock, at the bottom house, or wherever. Make sure you eat your tea, breakfast and dinner. Share this video, share it like food. Make sure you go to Facebook and follow. Go to YouTube and subscribe. Push the notification button so I don't have to send it to you one by one. You can always know when it's been released. Yeah, wow, good.